So one of the things that you may have been hearing a lot about is independent or individual plan of study. The state of Kansas has kind of changed the way they view education and the plan and the course. Individual plan of study is, for each individual student, is the direction that the state is pushing us to go, which I think is a wonderful plan. Every student has their own direction. For some it might be college, some it might be community college, some it might be the workforce, or some it might be the military. And so coming up with a plan for each individual student and starting in the 8th grade to help direct them through so that they can get into the workforce sooner, because they're finding that it was actually by the end of 2020, 71% of the workforce is going to need some kind of post-graduation plan. So they want to get students into college or in the certification program so they can get out into the workforce sooner. Part of the individual plan of studies that has been mandated by the state is a graduated series of strength finders and career interest inventories. We use the program, it used to be Career Cruising, now it's Zello, to help the students find their interests and their skills and their learning styles to help them figure out which would be a career that would be good for them and be a good fit for them. Another part of it is starting in the 8th grade through the 12th grade is building courses that would align with their individual plan of study. We use Zello the last couple of years to plan the courses for the following year. We plan to use it again this year for the junior parents in this room. We will be using it again in the spring as we're planning courses for their senior year. Third is a general post-secondary plan. Like I said, for some it might be workforce, some it might be military certification program, some it might be a 2-year or a 4-year plan. Finding a plan that works for each individual student. And then the fourth part is an electronic portfolio that they can take with them. So again, the post-secondary options that are available, where we go, how we go about reaching those plans, or where we need to go to prepare for those. And that's what we're here tonight for. We're here all year. Generally, I ask students, if you've got questions, please stop and raise your hand or let us know. But tonight we're on such a tight schedule because following tonight's presentation at 7:30, we're having some representatives here from Fort Hays that are going to be talking about financial aid. And we encourage all junior or senior parents to stay for that presentation. So like I said, in the past we've used Career Cruising. The last couple of years we've gone to Zello. That is the testing instrument that we use for interest inventory. It has so many resources that we are excited to use with students to help plan them and define their individual plan of study. Again, individual plan of study. So some of the things that we provide here at Hays High to provide more experience and exposure for students is career acts. We have some seniors that are currently doing that. Junior parents, your son or daughter may want to participate in this next year. It's basically a non-paid, formal, long-term supported relationship where students go out into the community and they get to do job shadowing. They could do it for a period. This year we have some students doing it for 2-period and 2-period blocks to go and job shadow and see if this is something that they really want to do. We have some who will go for first semester thinking they want to do it for a full year, but plans change. And so second semester we find a different placement for them. It's all about, I think, the more exposure you can get to a career, the better, the sooner you can make your decision to see if that is a good decision or a good career for you. We also have service learning, which we have teacher's aid, we have a guidance aid, we have an aid in our office, there's aides in the front office, we have IT aides. Those are also available for seniors. Both of these career acts and the service learning are based on attendance their junior year. So if they have a 95% attendance rate their junior year, when we meet with them for pre-enrollment, they will complete an application and they'll need to have a resume completed so that they are able to do these career learning their senior year. NCAA program, we're going to talk about that a little bit more on the next few slides, and the same is true for concurrent credit. So Excel and CTE, or Senate Bill 155, the state came out a few years ago, and we have a partnership with NCAA where the state will pay the tuition for the student while they're in high school. It's a wonderful program, and we've had a lot of students that have utilized this and take advantage of this. For instance, the auto mechanics. If a student goes into auto mechanics and takes it their junior and senior year, approximately, it's going to cost approximately $1,000 for those 2 years combined. Those 2 years, junior and senior year, going to NCAA Tech is equivalent to 1 year at NCAA Tech after you graduate, and we'll show you the cost difference. Same thing with culinary arts. If a student participates in culinary arts as a junior and then again as a senior, it's equivalent to the first year in the culinary arts program at NCAA Tech. That cost is about $1,500. Allied Health, we have a lot of students that go through the Allied Health program. We offer them the classes at ACE High with an NCAA Tech instructor. For the full year to get your CNA and your CMA, it's approximately $180. If I were going to go get my CNA right now, it would be almost $800, and that's just my CN. Students, while they're in high school, can get their CNA and CMA for $180, so it's a considerable savings. Pharmacy Tech, we have some that are doing Pharmacy Tech this year. The cost of the program is approximately $1,500, and we'll look at the cost once they go there after they graduate, what it would cost. Welding for 2022 and 23, that is very little possibility. We had some discussion in the spring of last year that we could add this program, but it was just too rushed. That's something that we want to look at as a possibility for this coming year. So it's going to be a little bit harder to see. I'm struggling to see here. I'll just look at my computer. So the first year for the auto mechanics technology is approximately $9,800. And so if you remember from the previous slide, students can take advantage of that for the 2 years, and it's approximately $1,000. If they go to NCAA Tech after they graduate, that's going to be the cost. Same thing is true with the culinary arts. It's over $8,000. And the pharmacy tech is almost $9,000. So you can see the considerable savings if they take it while they're in high school. So junior parents, that might be something you want to consider for your son or daughter next year. Concurrent credit. We do have some AP courses, basically with advanced placement courses. Students have the opportunity to do concurrent credit, or they can take the AP exam. The AP exams are always set. We have to order the test in November. The AP exams are actually in May on a specific date. The approximate cost is $95. So it was all riding on how that student does on that exam on that one particular day. Generally, there's 5 points. If they get 3 out of the 5 points, they can get college credit. Now that will depend on which college they go to, how the credits are awarded, and which classes are awarded. But you can get 3 hours, or if you do really well and you get 5, you get 5 on your test, you might get 6 hours of college credit, all for $95. Again, if your son or daughter is in an AP exam or AP class and they want to take the exam, we will need to know by November so that we can order them. Concurrent credit, we offer lots of classes for concurrent credit. It's a more guaranteed way to get your college credit. We have a wonderful partnership with Fort Hays. They offer us concurrent credit for $125 per credit hour. We're going to look at some slides here in a little bit that will show you the cost once they graduate and they actually go to Fort Hays or any other school, what they will be paying per credit hour. NCAA Tech, the concurrent credit hour for them is $112 per credit. These are the classes that we have in the fall. Our concurrent credit enrollment for the fall happened on August 26th. We're still trying to clean up. I got an email from Fort Hays today. We still have some cleanup to do on our enrollment, so we might be contacting you if your son or daughter's name is on the list. Our spring concurrent credit, these are the courses that we have available in the spring. That enrollment will be January 12th. Concurrent credit requirements, those have changed over the years. Basically what Fort Hays and NCAA Tech's requirement for admissions is going to be our requirement to take a concurrent credit class. For Fort Hays, you have to have a cumulative GPA of 2.25 or a composite ACT score of 21. Students that are taking college algebra or statistics, there are additional requirements for that. Again, the spring concurrent credit enrollment is January 12th. One of the opportunities as students start looking at what's available outside of high school, what majors to consider, Fort Hays is hosting on October 20th a major and graduate fair program. We've taken students to it in the past. We did this last year because I don't think it was offered. But this will give them the opportunity to go and meet with different department chairs to learn more about the programs and see if that's something that would be a good fit for them. We will have a sign-up sheet sooner or closer to time, and generally we provide transportation to and from Fort Hays. So again, when you're looking at colleges, what should you be looking for? What should you be doing? Obviously, if your son or daughter kind of knows what they want to study and what program, you want to make sure that the school that they're looking at has that academic area of study. Size of the college, location of the college, and cost is all something that you should consider. A couple stories that I have is, my oldest daughter took her to Manhattan. She looked at K-State, loved it. While she was there, I wanted her to tour a private college, so she went to Manhattan Christian. Although the tour was great, she just felt like that was not a good fit for her simply because it was such a small college. I had a student several years ago, she was going to go to KU. And she went and toured it, came back in my office and was in tears. She said, it's way too big. This is where I really wanted to go, but it's just way too big for me. She toured K-State, came back, and she was so happy and loved it, and that's where she ended up going. So visiting the campus, getting a feel for the campus is very important as you're planning your future, your son and daughter's future, and which direction and which school to go to, because that is a big decision on whether or not they stay there, if they feel comfortable on that campus. Obviously, graduation rate, the placement after graduation are things that are very important. Your son or daughter goes to college and gets a degree, you want them to find a job. And scholarships, comparing the different scholarships that are available at the different colleges. Finding the one that fits. Well, one of the opportunities, another opportunity that we have here is on September 28th. It's the College and Career Planning Conference, where we will have approximately 50 college reps, military reps, and some people from the workforce will be in this gymnasium with tables set up. So we want students to take this opportunity to go visit with those representatives. They're all over from the state of Kansas. They will be here. They will have the opportunity to give the colleges their mailing information or email address so that they can start getting on the mailing list and start getting information. And that will be from 140 to 250. We're going to have sophomores, juniors, and seniors attend this. There will be 2 30-minute sessions, so they can go in and visit whichever colleges they want to during that time. If parents want to attend, you can attend that as well. The other thing is visit school websites. It used to be when I first started in counseling, we'd get lots of books and magazines. We don't get that much anymore because it's all online. So visit the college websites. That's where you're going to get the most up-to-date information. And again, visit the schools. So what are the schools in Kansas? This is a lot of great links on this slide have a lot of really good information as far as colleges where they're located, a lot of information as far as scholarships, when are the deadlines, when's the FAFSA deadline, all those types of things are on these links and for schools in Kansas. And then like I told our students, make sure you utilize Zello. We're going to be doing some activities with them to try to encourage them to utilize Zello, to start researching colleges and figuring out what fits the academic area, what colleges would be good for them. So one of the things, if you figured out which colleges, the next thing is, can I get in? Do I meet the requirements for admission? And so Emporia State, Pitt State, Fort Hays State, and Wichita State, their admission requirements are you need to have 21 or higher or a cumulative GPA of 2.25 to be admitted. K-State's requirements are a little bit different. You need to have a 21 or higher composite ACT score or a 3.25 GPA, cumulative GPA. KU is you need to have a 21 or higher composite ACT score, and you need to have a cumulative GPA of 2.25. If your GPA is only 3.0, then you need to have a 24 composite score. So these are the admission requirements. One of the things I want to encourage your son or daughter, even if they don't need it, it is recommended that they go ahead and apply for admission. One of the other things too is for concurrent credit. If your son or daughter is taking concurrent credit, you want to make sure they get an A or a B in those courses, because it may not transfer if you have a D, and you may have to retake the class. The other thing is renewable scholarships. If you win a scholarship and you have to have a 3.0 to renew your scholarship, if you're starting out with a 2.0, you may lose, your son or daughter may lose the renewable scholarship. And I'm sure the financial aid office can share more about that later. So qualified admissions, it's kind of, colleges has changed it a little bit, or the Kansas Board of Regent has changed it a little bit. This Kansas Scholars curriculum has stayed the same. It's very similar to our high school curriculum. The only difference is you need to have 4 units of math, and one must be higher than Algebra 2. You must have 3 units of science, and it must be biology, chemistry, and physics. And then they must have 2 years of the same foreign language, and this is for the Kansas Scholars curriculum. We have a lot of students who will take science their senior year, but they choose to do human bio or a different science, or maybe AP chemistry rather than physics. And it's basically, again, back to the individual plan of study. What is going to best prepare them for the track or the career that they are interested in? If they meet the qualified admissions or the state scholar curriculum, then we send their name to the state, and to get state scholar, to become a state scholar, the average ACT is 30, and the average GPA is 3.91. And one of there are scholarships that are available for state scholars, but they're need-based. The ACT, so if you're planning to go to college, again, what are the admissions? What are the ACT requirements? As juniors, they will receive, the state of Kansas pays for a free exam, ACT exam, or a work keys exam. And we'll talk about work keys in just a minute. So we've already had to submit the names, but on March 1st, the juniors that signed up for the ACT will receive a free ACT. It will be administered during the school day, so it's not a Saturday testing like the ones, the 6 test dates. Those are only on Saturday, but the free one on March 1st will be during the school day, so your son or daughter will come to school and will take the test here. And then they will obviously receive the results, and if they feel like they need to take it again, it's recommended that they take it 2 to 3 times. A lot of colleges are super scoring, so they will take the highest score in English, math, science, and reading for scholarship purposes. October 23rd is the next ACT test date. The sign-up deadline was September 17th. You can still sign up, but there will be a late fee, and I believe that will go for 1 more week to sign up with a late fee. The test date after that is December 11th. So these test date sites fill up quickly. You will want your son or daughter to register, and they have to register on their own. We register them for the free one in March. It's offered at East High during the school day, but the students have to register themselves on the Saturday testing date. If you have a senior, you might want to have them take it either in October or December, because a lot of scholarships deadlines are in February. So if they test after February, it may not increase their chances of scholarships. So how to register, that's the link. The cost is approximately $60. There are fee waivers available for the ACT. Students get 2 free waivers, fee waivers, if they qualify. If your son or daughter receives free and reduced lunches, This will be a form that you will want to complete. We will keep this on file, and when your son or daughter is registering, if we have this on file and it's been verified, then we can get them a code that will waive the $60 fee. I have some forms over on the table if you haven't completed one yet and you want to do that tonight, and we will just keep them in our office. ACT prep class, Mr. Dale is kind of overseeing the ACT prep class this evening, September 20th and 21st. Our next one will be January 17th, and then we will also offer one in June. So junior parents, the testing date is March 1st, the free testing date, so you may want to have your son or daughter take the ACT prep class in January to help prepare them. The other thing we tell our students is please make sure you read your emails. If you don't have time to read and respond to the email, send it to your parents. They can help remind you to do that as well. It is very frustrating when you send out information to students and they don't check their emails and they don't know what's going on, or especially scholarships. We send something out. Just please encourage your son or daughter, if they don't have time to read it, that they forward it to you so that you at least have that information. Word keys. So the state of Kansas will pay for juniors to take the ACT or the ACT word keys, or both. The ACT word keys, we will administer it here during the school day at Hayes High on Wednesday, October 6th. So this test is coming out. This test is different. It's put out by ACT, but it's different. And really the purpose of this is to measure abilities in a variety of workplace skills. So this would be more going into the workforce. It will tell the employer what skills the student has. Here in Hayes, I know a lot of businesses that utilize it, but in McPherson, Solida, and Eastern Kansas, they may not even hire somebody unless they have seen what level their ACT work keys is, so that they know what they're reading and how much math they can do. So in Hayes, it hasn't been that well received, and I shouldn't say received, but just promoted, but in other parts of the state it is. So that sign up, we've already had to admit the names to the state, but that will be offered in October 6th. So junior parents, PSAT. So this is for sophomores and juniors, another test. Again, it's just a good practice test, a good standardized test. It's a relatively inexpensive one. I think the test cost about $16 or $17. We will be administering it here in our building on October 13th. It just is a way to help students prepare. If they do very well on this test, it enters them into the National Merit Scholarship Corporation, where they can go in and win really big scholarships. We had a student last year that was a National Merit Scholar. The sign-up date is passed, and there are extra tests available. So if your son or daughter, juniors, would like to have them take that, please contact the front office, and they can add their name to the list. Again, I believe it's $18, and the test date is October 13th. The PSAT is a pre-SAT, and it will prepare them for the SAT. ACT, there's basically two college entrance exams. Well, there's one with ACTSAT, I guess, but the ACT is accepted in all schools in the United States. If your son or daughter is planning to go to a school outside of the United States, they will want to take the SAT. Some colleges on the East or West Coast may prefer the SAT, so if your son or daughter wants to take the SAT, the PSAT will help prepare them for that, but those are the test dates for the SAT. And this would be how you register for it. Again, there are a few waivers available for this one as well. Okay, so we talked about the academic area, the size, the cost. So let's look a little bit more on the cost. So I kind of like to show this slide to the students to kind of give them a reality check of what it actually costs. So Cornell University for 1 year costs approximately $78,000 for 1 year. If a student wants to go to Arizona, University of Arizona, Tucson, for 1 year, if they live in Arizona, it's $30,500 for 1 year. If they want to go, if they're out of Kansas, if they're from Kansas, and they want to attend University of Arizona, it's $56,000 for 1 year. So let's look at the Board of Regent schools. This information was pulled from collegedata.com. K-State, if you want to attend K-State, the approximate cost per year is $25,000. KU is $25,000. Fort Hays is $12,000. And you'll see the little asterisk next to room and board. They, in the past, have offered a $1,000 discount if you're an Ellis County student and you live in the dorm. So they will knock off $1,000 for first semester and $1,000 for second semester if you live in the dorms. Emporia State, approximate cost is $20,000. Pitt State is $16,000, and Wichita State is approximately $25,000. One of the things I would show the students and want to highlight here tonight is the cost per credit hour. So if you're a member with Concurrent Credit, it costs $125 at Fort Hays. My daughter that's at Fort Hays now is paying $181 per credit hour. And so if a student is taking psychology, that's 3 hours. So it would cost $375 if she took it in high school, but when she goes to Fort Hays, it would be $181 times 3. If you go to Kansas State, it's $316 per credit hour. KU is $340. The other thing I'd like for students to look at is the average debt when they graduate. What's the average debt for students? Something that try to encourage students, if there's any way you can get through school without college debt, work other jobs, scholarships, financial aid, do whatever you can so that when you graduate, you don't have a pile of debt that you have to pay off. Looking at the private colleges in Kansas, again, I got this information from College Data. Kansas Wesleyan is approximately $42,000. Newman is about $46,000. The cost per credit hour in those private schools are over $1,000 per credit hour. So taking concurrent credit while you're in high school can save families a lot of money. And then looking at community colleges, at Barton, the approximate cost is $18,000, Hutch is $15,000, and Colby is $14,000 per year.
So the next part here is questions to ask for visits. So today, when we met with seniors, I emphasized this with them. You know, I've been on visits with my son already, and a lot of times they don't ask the key questions that they should, but a lot of times they're looking at the parents as well to ask the questions. And there's a lot of good questions that they could be looking at as they take those visits. It's really important for them to get on campus and to view all of the different opportunities to find out if they like things or not, especially if they're going to move away from home, move away from you, if they're going to live in a dorm somewhere, get into the dorms, look at those things, compare those dorms. They might walk into one and it's kind of grody and gross and it's just an old building compared to maybe a brand new dorm. So there are certain questions that they should be looking at, and we provide a list of these questions to the students for them to consider. Whether it's program of study, whether it's admissions questions, enrollment questions, financial aid is a big one. I'm going to hit on that here in just a little bit. And then I also mentioned the housing. Key things there is maybe when is the housing application deadline? How much is the application? What do I need to put down to maybe save my spot? So there are some key things that they consider when they take those visits. And hopefully you're looking at dates if you're a senior. You're looking at dates to get your student onto the campus and view different opportunities for them. Resumes. This is big as far as applying for scholarships. We have a lot of seniors that just recently took the Hansen test for scholarship opportunity if they met the requirements. And a lot of them were scrambling because that test or that scholarship had certain requirements that they wanted them to include in their resume. Now, that might be totally different if they're looking for a job, maybe at Dillon's, versus maybe a general scholarship, say, at Fort Hays State University or at KU. It might ask them to include a resume for their scholarship. And we utilize Zello and we help them through that. I know the English teachers have worked a lot with them on resumes. resumes. So this is really important for juniors and seniors to be looking at their resumes, developing their resumes, because it can come into play with so many different facets of post-secondary education. National Honor Society, down at the bottom, it might be hard to see, but they will email potential students that meet the criteria. September 17th, that was when that was supposed to have occurred, so I reminded our seniors today, check your emails. You might receive one from National Honor Society, and it would have instructions on applying to the organization, and that must be submitted by October 15th. Criteria, GPA 3.5, and then they look at service, leadership, character. Steps for the application process. So senior parents, some I believe have already started this. Others are just getting started, and then there are other seniors that are scared to death. They have no idea what they want to do. They have no idea what they want to major in. They have no idea where they want to go. And some of them just avoid it altogether because they're scared. Some just don't want to leave home. And some just don't have an idea what they want to do. We try to help them through that process with Zello, but you know how students are sometimes. They're like, oh, I didn't get the results that I wanted, or that program's stupid, or I don't want to do that, I'm not getting the results that I want. Well, the key is we really want them to start thinking, hey, get the wheels spinning in your head. What opportunities are out there? There's jobs being created every day that we don't even know the names of them. And so we want them to kind of start looking at some key things that they have strengths in, what are their interests. So looking at the application process, they need to be gathering information as far as maybe it's their GPA, maybe it's their class rank so they can fill out applications. Planning and choosing as far as majors, certification programs, whether it's between a junior college certification program, maybe it's a technical college certification program. Visit schools of your choice, applying to colleges and know their deadlines. I emphasize that a lot today with them. Know the deadlines. When do I need to apply? When do I need to apply for scholarships? And it's always different as far as admissions, beginning scholarship deadlines versus final scholarship deadlines, and just paying attention to all those. Maybe they need to interview, or maybe they need a specific essay for a scholarship application. Maybe they need recommendations from teachers. So those are all things that they need to be looking at. Then you get into the part, well, I've narrowed my choices down, I've applied, I'm looking for scholarships from those schools, but I also need to be applying for financial aid through the government. And that'll come up here in just a second. So admissions to the schools of your choice. They need to review the admissions qualifications. And Amy hit on that as far as the qualified admissions requirements for like Emporia State, K-State, KU, and those things. Just knowing those things and being aware, maybe I need to take the ACT again. Maybe it'll help me get a different scholarship. So that's that second one, taking required tests, fill out applications, pay admission application fees, waivers may be available. You know, she talked about this waiver of confidentiality. That can come into play with getting an application for admission fees waived. So, if, you know, free and reduced lunches, we can help out by contacting those schools and getting those waived. Just so that you kind of are aware, if you're not, if you're applying to a four-year university, they generally will have an application fee to apply for admission. If you're applying to a junior college, most of them do not have an application fee. A lot of technical colleges do have application for admission fees. And what I would emphasize on technical colleges is that some programs are so popular that they fill up very fast. So you might want to be applying now for certain programs, and you want to talk that over with your student. Completing a high school transcript request form. This is important. Now, if your son or daughter is the age of 18, they can do this on their own and fill this out. But we'll have a stack over there for senior parents. We need this completed and have a senior parent sign this for us to legally send the transcript on for when schools ask for or other places ask for a transcript for your son or daughter. So this is important as far as helping us logistically in our office. Kansas Works. Amy mentioned that we're going to have next week the College and Career Planning Conference. We'll have tables set up in this gym with over 50 representatives. One of those representatives will be Kansas Works. Kansas Works is a great place to stop and visit if your student is looking to just enter the workforce right away after high school. Connor Nichols from Kansas Works will be here. He can always help students by looking at what jobs are available in the community. Maybe a student needs further help with their resume, and he'll sit down and help them with that. Maybe they need some help with federally funded workforce programs, searching for potential jobs, researching the labor market for further information, or maybe they just need a little bit of extra training. So that's what Kansas Works can help students with. So that's great that they will be here. And encourage your student, if that's what they're planning to do, to stop by and visit with Connor on that career planning conference day. Similar situation with Flint Hills Job Corps. They can help with GED prep, career preparation, career development, construction, craft labor, career transitions, residential living opportunities. There's a lot of different opportunities out there from different programs that they just will look and pursue those things. The ASVAB test. We've talked a lot already about the ACT, the SAT, the PSAT. Well, the ASVAB is critical for students that are going into the military. If they're going into the military, they will have to take this test. It is offered free of charge. It'll be here at Hayes High on December 1st. But it's also good for other students that maybe aren't planning to go to the military but aren't sure what they want to do. The ASVAB can give some good aptitude results and some good interest inventory results. So anybody's free to take it if they wish. Midwest Student Exchange. On one of the slides, Amy was showing you what it would cost if, like, I went to Arizona to a school if I'm out of state. Well, the Midwest Student Exchange program is a program that has agreements where certain schools will not charge students out-of-state tuition, but they'll charge them in-state tuition. So if you're looking at different schools that are in proximity to Kansas, you might want to check out the Midwest Student Exchange program to see what schools are part of that, to give yourself maybe a price break on some tuition costs. The Common Application, we talked about kids that are going to be applying for admissions. For the Common Application, there's approximately 900 colleges and universities nationwide that will accept the Common Application. If your student is looking at 4 or 5 different schools, and let's say 3 of them accept the Common Application, they could do that one time and apply to those 3 schools with just one application, so they can save a lot of time. So you might want to look at the Common Application to see what schools will accept that, and save yourself a lot of time if you're considering multiple number of schools. When to apply. So here are some key dates. I really emphasize this with seniors today. Completing the Fort Hays application by November is recommended. November 15th for Fort Hays is the scholarship priority deadline. December 1st is the scholarship deadline for KU. December 1st, application and general scholarship for K-State. December 1st, scholarship priority deadline for Wichita State. December 1st, scholarship and priority deadline at Washburn. February 1st, scholarship deadline for Pitt State. February 1st, priority deadline at Emporia State. February 15th is the final Fort Hays State University deadline. And then June 15th is the final GPA or ACT that can be considered for scholarship opportunities. So I told students, you know, you really need to be, we send out a number of emails, we put things on our counselor page, they really need to stay up on those deadlines. I emphasize today you know, all three of us counselors, we have so many kids on our caseload, we're not going to go around to the seniors and say, hey, did you get that in? Did you know about this? And whose job is it? And all of them like, well, it's ours. We need to be doing that. And so emphasize that, check their emails, check their deadlines, be aware of the deadlines so that they don't happen to let one slip by. Technical colleges. I mentioned that some schools with tech schools, I remember years ago when I had a kid that wanted to go into an auto mechanics program at Northwest Kansas Tech in Goodland, and they applied for admissions early in their senior year, and they were already on the waiting list. And so they were crossing their fingers that they were going to be able to go in and start that program right away as a freshman. So check certain programs with technical colleges and apply to those schools. Applied Kansas event. This was started by the state of Kansas 2 years ago, I think. We will have this on October 6th and 7th during GPS time, which is student study period time. We'll have some tables set up where they can come and apply. If the school that they're interested in is participating in the Apply Kansas event, then their fee for the application for admission can be waived by just attending that event and completing the application that day. Now, that doesn't mean all schools participate. You know, KU may participate, they may not. So we just have to wait and see what the final list is of schools that will participate. But it's a way for high schools across the state of Kansas to kind of start spearheading seniors. It's time for you to start applying and getting some things done. A few more things, applying for housing. A lot of times this one's overlooked because there's so many critical things to do as far as applying for admissions, applying for scholarships. You know, a university might have a number of general scholarships that you can apply for individually. Some might just have one common scholarship application, but housing kind of gets overlooked. And what I would tell seniors is, in order to make an informed decision about what you want to do as far as living on campus somewhere, is hopefully you've taken a tour, you've looked at all the housing opportunities, and then you've completed your housing application, which generally has a fee, or they might have you put some money down to save a spot. So those are key things to find out, especially on a visit. When is the housing application open up? When do I definitely need to have it in by, and how much money am I going to need to put down right away for housing applications? Because it can vary from one school to the next. Registering for enrollment days, and also attending orientation days. Those are some key things to not forget about. So financial aid, we're going to have a presentation. Hopefully senior parents stick around because this will relate specifically for you as far as completing the FAFSA application. But looking at grants and loans, student loans, all those different types of things for helping to pay for school. Or whether it might be the state of Kansas programs, private sources, and so forth. Pre-application for federal student aid. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because that's what the second part is from Fort Hays. But it's important as far as if you're going to go to school, and I know when I went, and I've got a daughter in college, she has to take out student loans. I don't have enough money in the bank to pay for her tuition. And my son's a senior, and he's going to be going to school, and he's going to need student loans. I needed student loans. Otherwise, I wouldn't have received a degree. So, in order to get student loans, you're going to have to fill out what's called a FAFSA application. How to find out about more scholarships and financial aid? Well, one of the first places that we told seniors that they need to be looking at probably weekly is on our counselor page and looking at the scholarship list. We're always constantly adding to that. So if they're not doing that, parents, please encourage them to continually go to the counselor page and look at the scholarship listings. They can click on those scholarships, get all of the information that they need, and find out if they're eligible, what the criteria is, how much is the scholarship, when is the deadline, those types of things. Internet searches, student aid, fast webs, finaid.org, looking at the college or university's websites for their scholarship opportunities, talking with admissions representatives for opportunities, attending the college and career planning conference. All of these things are important as far as keeping up with what opportunities are out there. When filling out scholarship applications, pay attention to neatness and completion. These applications can make a first impression. So a lot of times when I'm looking at students' applications that they turn into me that I'm supposed to submit, a lot of times I can easily tell when it was really rushed through. The handwriting is sloppy, maybe there's misspellings, maybe they took ink and then they wrote the wrong word and they crossed through it. So pay attention to that. Online applications are now very common, but there are still a few paper pencils. Review the instructions before submitting and make copies or save them on the computer. The Dave Hansen scholarships. Like I said, we had a lot of seniors that were eligible based on ACT and GPA, and they took the first round, which was the test, the Hansen test. If they did well on the Hansen test, then they would be invited to round 2, which is an interview process. If they do really well on that interview process, most of the time they then are chosen for a scholarship. And you can see that there's some big scholarships here with the Hansen Leaders of Tomorrow, which is a $10,000 renewable, a $6,500 renewable scholarship, and a Hansen Student Scholarship that's $4,000 renewable. Now, if we've got junior parents here, if your student is sitting at like a 3.4 GPA and maybe a 20, or they get a 20 ACT score, they're not eligible because their criteria is 3.5 and 21. But they might want to quickly take the summer June ACT to try and get that 21, and if their second semester grades were really good in their junior year, it might jump them from a 3.4 to a 3.5. So then they could have that opportunity. So just kind of pay attention to those things. We always have sign-ups and we get the information out to those students that qualify. Another great opportunity from Ben Hansen has 0 GPA requirements, has 0 ACT requirements. But if a student is planning to go and get a technical college degree, the Dave Hansen Career and Tech Ed Scholarship is a great opportunity. That means cosmetology, like a 9-month welding certificate program. This is a great opportunity for them to apply for scholarships that give out 100 of them, and they're $4,000 each and they're renewable. So that would take up a huge chunk if, let's say, we put up the numbers and we saw that auto mechanics was roughly $8,000 to $9,000. If they have this, that's going to pay a good chunk of their tuition. So we encourage the students that if they're going to go that route, definitely complete the Dave Hansen Career and Tech Ed Scholarship. They can pick those up from their counselor. They have to have 3 letters of recommendation, so they need to be thinking about that. One of them has to be a principal or a counselor, and then they can figure out the other 2, but they also have to write a brief essay as well. So there are key things that they need to do well for the Hansen's committee that looks at that Tech Ed application and says, wow, this is a pretty good application. So talking to them about how you go about completing these applications is key. Scholarship search services, there's a lot of them out there. There's tons of scholarships that go unclaimed every year. So encourage them to kind of look outside the box at maybe some other avenues. You never know, they might be able to sneak in an extra $500 here or there from an outside scholarship. What can juniors do? Take rigorous courses, attend the college and career planning conference, talk to those reps at Hayes High, look at junior days, kind of start the process early, visit school websites, pick up materials from the counseling office, preview scholarship opportunities and events, and visit and make a plan with your school counselor. NCAA, this is for athletic participation. So if a student is wanting to compete at the Division I or the Division II level, they have to meet certain criteria through NCAA requirements. Hopefully, the current juniors have visited or had a one-on-one with their counselor already to see if they're on track to meet those 16 core requirements. There are additionally ACT score and GPA requirements with NCAA. So it's very important that if your student has an opportunity at the Division I or the Division II level, that they have a sit-down one-on-one conversation with their counselor to let them know that they are seriously considering that and to look to see where they're at with their curriculum choices. NAIA, similar situation. As far as, I'll go back to NCAA, there's a web link, and remember, we'll have this PowerPoint on our HAZI website, and we can always get it out in mass emails as well. But there's an eligibility center where a student has to go through the apply, pay the fee to the NCAA, and then they have an account. And then ACT scores need to come from ACT. They won't accept them from the high schools. So when your son or daughter is taking the ACT and choosing schools or places for their school to go, one of them needs to be the NCAA if they're considering seriously doing athletic participation after high school. NAIA is a similar situation. This relates more to like the four-year private universities. So looking to see what their eligibilities are. So again, meeting with their counselor. Military academies and the opportunities that students have for paying for education and all the different things that come through, like GI Bills and those things from Air Force, the Naval Academy, military, West Point, Merchant Marines, Reserve Officer Training Course, schools that offer these that can also help pay for a lot of college tuition expenses. So if they're wanting to pursue those things, looking at what schools offer ROTC. And remember, you can always reach us counselors, give us a call if you have questions, email us. There's our information for you to contact us at any time. We'd be happy to help you with any questions. And a lot of times, if we don't know the answer specifically for like a specific school or regulation or institution, we'll get on the phone and we'll make some calls and try and find the right and appropriate information as well for you.
So if you're like me, I'm a visual person. I like to see, I like to make lists. If you have your phones, as senior parents, we can try to scan that. I have a year of senior year, or I have a document of senior year reminders that just kind of go through and give dates and information that needs to be completed. It's not all inclusive by any means, but it's a start, something you can put on your fridge. There's also lots of links on that document. Are you guys able to bring it up? Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you again for coming out